Hello, my name is Michael Ralph, and today I will be interviewing Amanda Hunt to see how gender affects economics, and specifically how the Bechdel Test affects entertainment. For starters, I'd like to ask the audience, have any of you ever heard of the Bechdel Test before? Please raise your hand if you have. For those of you who have, perfect. Those, don't worry about it because neither have I. Amanda, can you please tell us a little bit about the Bechdel Test?
I can. Well, the Bechdel Test is a series of 3 criteria used to see if women have the role of an average woman in movies or if they're essentially just used as a prop. They have to pass a series of 3 criteria that include at least 2 women who are named. They have to talk to each other. And they have to talk about something other than a man.
These criteria don't seem to be too difficult to fill. Do many movies pass this test?
Surprisingly not. Some movies that don't pass the test include Up, all 3 of The Lord of the Rings, The Bourne Identity, Princess Bride, Home Alone, Batman the Dark Knight, and Shrek.
Some of those movies are very surprising. What are a few movies that do pass this test?
Well, there aren't too many recent movies that pass the test, but a few are Frozen, Jane Eyre, and Divergent.
Since there seem to be more movies that don't pass the Bechdel test, does it affect their ratings? It seems like something like this would be very noticeable in the movie and make the movie less appealing.
There is no evidence that the test affects movie ratings. From seeing how many more movies there are that don't pass the test compared to movies that do, I think it's safe to say that these downfalls are more subtle than they seem.
Do you think that passing or not passing the test affects the income for the film?
Well, Michael, I'm not quite sure.
Well, the research team here actually found a chart that describes what the income was like in 2013. I'll show you. As you can see here, these are the top 50 movies in 2013, and it has the Bechdel breakdown for each movie. It shows that the top portion, those that have passed, actually had a greater income in 2013 than those that did not pass, which was kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Exactly. Now, do you know how the trends for passing or failing the Bechdel test have been over the past few years?
Actually, I do have a little bit of information on that. According to the data publishing site Silk, the Bechdel test pass rate was 55.4% in 2014, while in 2013 it was 67.5%, and that's a drop of 12 percentage points.
Wow.
The 2014 figure bucked a recent trend of steadily improving rates. 2012 saw a 66.4% pass rate, 2011 was 62.8%, and 2010 was 60.8%. In fact, the 2014 figure was the worst the survey found since 1994, which came in at 52.4%.
Interesting. Actually, one thing I don't really understand is why movies fail the Bechdel test. What causes the most problems when testing movies to see if they pass?
Well, the biggest issue is that there's usually not enough named female characters. And this is kind of disturbing to me because you think that you'd want enough female characters to balance the movie out, but to not even have 2 that are named, that's a problem. And then the next problem on why they fail is that they don't talk to each other. And for me, if I'm watching a movie and they don't talk to each other, it seems like they're splitting the movie into 2 different parts, and it's not a cohesive film. And finally, the problem that I thought would be the biggest, but it's actually the least of the problems, is that the 2 women only talk about men.
Wow, that's extremely interesting. Well, what do you think can be done to fix this?
Well, first off, we need to make this test better known and to make sure that the movie industry knows that we want women to be seen fairly in film. Another thing that can be done is to not give money to producers who are making movies that do not pass the Bechdel test. If a movie is out in theaters that seems to portray women in a bad light, don't spend your hard-earned money to go and see it.
That sounds fairly simple. Is there anything else that can be done?
Well, once the film industry knows that we want to shed a better light on female roles, they can start making movies that reflect this. For example, I found an article from the Huffington Post on some ideas for movies that would represent women well. The first one is called Bronco Belle, and it's about a woman trying to be a bull rider and the problems that she faces and all the prejudice that she has to endure and try and conquer. The next one is called The Daughter of a Queen.
That sounds like a tongue twister.
It
You
is.
can't say that 5 times fast.
This is the story about Kathy Williams, who changes her name to William Kathy to enlist in the Civil War. She was the first Black woman and the only woman, period, to fight as a Buffalo Soldier in the history of the U.S. And finally, this last one is actually starting to be made already, and it's a half-hour comedy animation called Horsewomen. And it's about the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse who try to end the world. And there's one catch. The world refuses to be ended by women. Now, personally, I think this sounds funny. I would definitely go and see it.
You'll have to let me know how it is. So overall, from my understanding, by implementing these ideas, the movie industry would be helping women by making more money and getting better reviews.
You are absolutely right.
Well, hopefully these changes can actually occur fairly soon.
Yes, hopefully. Now, there's a little test that everyone can take if they want to, and you go to passthebechdeltest.com. And actually, if the audience would like to try it right now, I think that we could do that.
Yeah, let's certainly try it.
So we'll take the test, and you all write down what you think the answers would be, and we'll go over the right answers in the end.
How many questions are there?
I believe there's 10.
All right. Our first movie is Shrek. Please write down if you think it passes or does not pass. I believe you said earlier that it does not pass, right?
I don't think this one passed.
The Social Network.
Have you seen this movie?
No, I have not. Have you?
Nope.
Let's go with it doesn't.
Okay.
Again, you don't have to have the same answers as us. Please pick what you think. Man of Steel.
I don't know. I like Superman. We could say it passes.
You would like Superman. Run, Lola, Run.
Have you ever heard of this film?
Never heard of it, but it has to do with somebody running.
Okay. So what do you think?
I'm going to go with no. The Lord of the Rings trilogy.
This I mentioned earlier. It definitely did not pass.
That's a freebie for all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Oh, Ralph, have you seen this film before?
Oh, yes, I have. Just, it's been a while.
All right. I don't think it does because there's Hermione, but there's other females in it. But we'll go with doesn't.
Machete Kills. Have you ever heard of this?
Nope.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Just for the fun of it, let's go with passes. Monsters University.
Let's see. It's got 2 little men monsters running around and doing things. I'm gonna guess that it doesn't.
Okay. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Have you seen this movie?
The fact that I couldn't even pronounce the title, I'm going to go with no.
All right. Well, what do you think?
Let's go with it doesn't. The Squid and the Whale.
Sounds like a great movie.
Yeah, I'm going to go with no.
Right?
All right, for those who want to check your results, we have got 100%, but we'll run through them real quick. So Shrek was not a pass. The Social Network doesn't pass. Man of Steel passes. Run, Lola, Run doesn't pass. Lord of the Rings trilogy doesn't pass. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 didn't pass. Machete Kills passed. Monsters University didn't pass. The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, however you pronounce it, didn't pass. And The Squid and the Whale did not pass. To be fair, we've taken this test a few times, so that's probably why we only got 100%. Our first few times, what did we get our first time, you remember?
I think it was like 40%.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It looks like that's all the time we have today. I really hope you enjoyed our presentation. Amanda, thank you for joining us today. I hope you all have a good afternoon. Thank you.